At this time, we're back. Eric DeSobe here, joined by Christina. Christina, I'm down here in LA. You're up in the Bay
I'm in the
Area,
Bay Area. Yeah.
and you've been there for many years, yeah?
Yeah. I grew up here. So I've, my entire career I've spent in the Bay Area.
Yeah. Has your entire career been in talent, or did that come to you a little bit later in your professional life?
So I started in publishing sales,
Oh,
interesting fact. And then I
interesting.
got into recruiting. I was recruited by my best friend who was in the industry. And I think, like all of us, we fall into talent and recruiting. You don't kind of go to college saying you or want to grow up and be a recruiter. So, but I fell in love with it and just the people connection and, the building relationships and the sales aspect of it. So been here
Yeah.
ever since.
And then you worked for Robert Half for a long time, right?
I did. I was with Robert Half for almost 15 years.
Yeah. So I feel like I cross paths with them periodically when I'm in the high stress needs. I got to find someone. What was that world like where you were, I imagine, just kind of always getting calls like that from people like me who were frantic trying to find really good people?
Absolutely. Well, I think it's such a great organization to start your career in the industry. Just really great training, and then it just exposes you to just different industries, different organizations. But yes, it was always. I grew up on the legal side, so I cut my teeth and kind of grew up on the legal side, selling to law firms and corporate legal departments, and then moved over to the tech and creative side. But no, just a really great company to grow up in, and obviously just learn about different industry recruiting. So yeah, was there for a long time.
Yeah. What are some of the stats about some of the people that you would then have recruited out? Do they stay within Robert Half for a long time? Is it a relatively transient kind of group? How would you describe it?
No, I think that it's interesting. I've maintained relationships with a lot of my Robert Half colleagues over the years, and they've then number of them have gone on to become heads of TA and VPs of talent, and so that connection in those groups of people that you kind of grow up in the branch, those relationships are just so valuable. So I don't know the exact stats. I mean, I think that within the first year, people either know if it's an industry that they want to be in or not. So I think that the retention rate your first year is probably the highest amount of turnover. But once you kind of make that and you decide that recruiting and people and talent is the career that you want to be in, then you start to build your lifelong career. And people go across different staffing firms, they go in house. So I've seen just different paths.
Yeah. Most of my, not all of my recruiting has been in the K-12 education space. So I'm always really fascinated by folks who've recruited in different kind of corporate worlds or corporate sectors. Give folks a scoop on what you're doing now because I feel like it's a little bit unique. I'd love to hear more.
It is. So I've been in the contingent side for, 19 years. So about 90 days ago I moved over to a company called ISG Partners,
Okay.
and we do embedded recruitment. And so we have embedded corporate recruiters that act as an extension of corporations, organizations, startups that are looking to really grow and scale. And I'm here primarily because number one, my CEO, just the vision and the innovation that he's had within the industry. And I think that, with everything with AI and technology and some of the changes that we're currently seeing, companies are looking for ways to use the tools but not use the human touch. And so when you embed a recruiter into your team, they're an extension of your team. And so I talk to a lot of folks like yourself that might be a team of one, and they're, in all of the different hats that they're wearing, the recruiting piece gets pushed down in terms of prioritization, but it usually is the top prioritization, but they're trying to juggle. So it's a really great solution where you bring in one of our recruiters. Sometimes it starts with one and it'll scale to three, four, five, big teams, to help hit certain hiring milestones and goals. So it's a really neat, and I've never been in this space before. So it's been really fun to talk to clients about different solutions. And again, I think there's different avenues, different lanes and paths that we're all in. And it's, again, it's there's certain inflection points within a company's growth that this is a really impactful solution to help with that growth scale.
I don't think I'd seen the word embedded used quite that way with recruiters. Tell me more about what that means and why that word choice is probably pretty important to what y'all are doing.
Yeah, and when so people will say, "Are you guys an RPO?" And I say no. I say, think of it like RPO, but we're not an RPO because we're not fully outsourcing the function. And I think that's why our clients like this, because they still have the control and the involvement within the hiring piece of it. So when you embed a recruiter versus RPO, where you're fully outsourcing it, again, they're a part of your team. They're an extension of your staff. And we always tell people, you can embed our recruiters as much or as little as you'd like. So our recruiters, they usually have the company laptop, they have an email address, they're joining all of the hiring syncs and sprints and the team meetings. And again, it's a subscription model. So different from an RPO where there's long contracts and you're kind of
Yeah.
locked in. We're on a month-to-month basis, so clients turn us on for 30 days. Usually, the average is probably 4 to 6 months, and
Okay.
then after 30 days, it's like, well, no, we can't. We still want you here, and then they're bringing in other roles, but it's an end-to-end solution. So we help with the sourcing all the way up to the scheduling, the interviewing, offer. So it's a really, again, innovative solution where it's not a one-size-fits-all, and we really adjust based off of the client's needs.
So then the recruiters in your pool that you're embedding, what's their profile like? Are they folks that you've known for a long time, or you have a super rigorous screening process to find them to be in the pool to then go embed? How's that work?
We do. And so a lot of them have similar backgrounds to how you and I started in the industry. They started on the agency side. Maybe they went in-house for a little bit. But I think the unique part of being a recruiter here at ISG Partners is the account management side of it. So they get to work hand in hand as a true partner versus when you're on the agency, it's just you're working on 20 different priorities for 20 different clients, right? So this is really you're fully dedicated to this client. So again, you are learning the organization, the culture, the culture match and the fit. So that is a unique part of when recruiters want to be just part of the greater impact and the whole process versus kind of more, again, working on different roles for different clients. So they really like that account management and building, the relationship with the different teams.
Yeah. And then did you get recruited for this job, or did you cross paths with the company when you were somewhere else?
Yeah, I mean, I think in this industry, people refer you to different organizations, and so it wasn't something that was on my radar. But when I met Ben and he, told me about kind of the last 3 years in the change in his company, it was compelling. And for me, I'm always someone that's looking to grow and constantly learn. And I think it's a really interesting point in the industry. I'm going to be celebrating 20 years this summer, and to see the different changes in the different downturns and the different cycles, I think this is a point where I wanted to be at the forefront of how do we come up with creative solutions for clients and partner with them directly on their searches. And again, this is just it's been such a fun ride, even the last 30 days, and just seeing how impactful it can be and just becoming that true partner to them.
Yeah.
So I was technically not recruited. It was more of an introduction that has led me here, and so it's been a fun ride. So it's super exciting.
And then, we have people who are recruiters who listen to this pod, but also people who are job seekers are kind of wondering what the job market is like from our eyes. It being on the place where you are, where you're probably connected to lots of different companies and different markets and niche markets, what kind of ways do you explain what's going on right now? Because it does seem like a strange job market.
It is, and I think it's so hard to, you feel, sometimes that you're being pulled in so many directions. What I would say to people that are early on in their career, start building those relationships in your network early on in your career, because even at this point in my career, my network and the people in my community and the people that I have, again, grown up in the industry and kept in contact with, that is everything to me in my 20 years in recruiting. And so again, I think it's one of those things where there's a lot of noise as it relates to AI and tools. But at the very core of what we do, as you know, we're in the people business. And so I think those tools are something that will help us to kind of cut through some of the noise that will allow us to have more human connection in conversations like this. So I would just, I encourage people, because it can become discouraging in the job market. Leverage the people that have conversations about what they're seeing, the things that are working for them. And don't be afraid to ask, can you make an introduction to so and so? I see you're connected to this person.
Yeah.
Can you make an introduction? So I think those are the things that, versus just constantly applying to jobs, be a little more organic and strategic with,
Yeah.
who you're connected with. So that would be my best piece of advice, because again, it can be daunting. And so I think it's just find people that can help keep you grounded and connect you to the right industries, the right companies, and the places that you feel that this is, I want to be part of this mission, or this is where my interest lies.
Yeah. Last thing, if people want to get connected with you, your company, get a subscription, what's the best way to do that?
So you can connect with me on LinkedIn, go to our website. It's isgpartners.com. And yeah, I'd love to be connected. And, again, I think go to our website. We have testimonials on there. You can schedule time to talk with someone on the team. But yeah.
Awesome.
LinkedIn's
We'll put all that. Yeah, we'll put all your info in the episode description.
Yeah.
Cristina, thanks for coming on. Thanks everyone for listening. You can get all the past podcasts, all the places you find them, and catch Cristina and I in Stunning 4K on YouTube as usual. Thanks everyone. We'll catch you soon.